it's Rick Kamla for Fantasy Points, and we are delivering our college football picks for week one, and I am psyched. We've got a five-pack for you here. Virginia at Tennessee. I've got the Vols minus 28. That's a DraftKings number. This is a best bet. Tennessee is hosting Virginia for what will end up being SEC on ACC violence here, people. The Vols averaged 46 points per game last year, led the nation, led their own conference, the best conference in ball, the SEC, by 5 points per game. Quarterback Hendon Hooker, as well as Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman, obviously are being drafted, and they're in the NFL right now. But Joe Milton is ready to become a rock star QB, and the next in that line of the Josh Heupel quarterbacks, and he's going to be very, very good. He's got three returning receivers who are really going to pop this year. Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, and Ramel Keaton, all ready for takeoff, taking over for Hyatt and Tillman. The Vols also returned one of the best backfields in the country with Jabari Small and Jalen Wright. They combined for over 1,600 rushing yards and 23 TDs on the ground last year. Virginia head coach Tony Elliott is why I like the Vols so much here, okay? He's horrible. Last year, he took a swashbuckling offense with Brennan Armstrong, turned it into one of the biggest dumpster fires in college football. Think about this. They went from 34 points per game under Bronco Mendenhall to 17 points per game under Tony Elliott. Same quarterback with both guys. That's crazy. The Vols covered all 5 non-conference games last season, and they were 6-2 ATS when laying 10 or more points. This is a smash spot for the Vols. I would risk 2 units to win one on this one. South Florida at Western Kentucky. I like Western Kentucky minus 11.5. That's a DraftKings number. This also is a best bet. Western Kentucky is going to blow out South Florida in a group of 5 matchup as CUSA takes a bite out of the American Conference. Western Kentucky returns a stud at quarterback in Austin Reed. He had 4,700 passing yards and 40 touchdowns last season. Added another 8 scores on the ground for 48 total touchdowns. Wow. The Hilltoppers won their bowl game over South Alabama with Reed going off for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. He powered one of the elite offenses in college football last year as WKU ranked 15th in the nation at 36 points per game. Junior wide receiver Malachi Corley, coming off a massive season, caught 101 balls, almost 1,300 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He might have the best receiving numbers in the entire country this year, okay? They also returned wide receiver Dalvin Smith, who was part of the plan last year. They're bringing transfers Blue Smith and Jimmy Holiday, who are both expected to start and play very well in this unbelievable offense. South Florida did not win a game against an FBS opponent last season, people. They did not win one game. Closing the year on a 10-game losing streak, USF lost 7 starters on offense, which is the recipe for a blowout loss here against a high-octane offense on the road in week one. Risk 1.5 units to win one here on WKU. Colorado at TCU. I like TCU minus 20.5, okay? It's a DraftKings number. The Buffs come off a 1-11 season. The Horned Frogs went 13-2, lost the Natty to Georgia, but personnel changes are big time for both of these teams, all right? First-year head coach Deion Sanders obviously taking over Colorado, ushered in 50 new players via the transfer portal, including his son, Shedeur Sanders, who rocked almost 7,000 yards and 70 touchdowns in 2 years under his father at Jackson State. Colorado has a true freshman cornerback, a 5-star guy in Carmani McClain. They've also got a former number 1 overall recruit in Travis Hunter to give them a really good duo at secondary. Hunter's going to play wide receiver as well. Bunch of great stories going on with Colorado. But TCU is the play here. They did lose 8 starters on offense, including Heisman finalist Max Duggan, okay? He took over when Chandler Morris went down with injury. They also lost Quentin Johnston to the NFL, Kendre Miller to the NFL, but Savion Williams is going to take over as the number 1 wide receiver. He's a beast. Trey Sanders came over from Alabama to be the top running back. He's very good as well. All of those players are ready for takeoff in big, big seasons. TCU returns 8 starters on defense. Now, in terms of Colorado here, there's going to be to me, it's very hard, just to start over a program from scratch and then trust that program in their first game together on the road against one of the better teams in college football. And I believe Shedeur Sanders is going to suffer some growing pains going from the SWAC to Power 5. So I like TCU to cover here. A lot of people are on Colorado. I think it's too much hype. I think it's too easy of a play. Also, we've got North Carolina against South Carolina in Charlotte. I will take the Heels -2.5 because of the disparity at quarterback. Drake May is a rock star. Spencer Rattler is an overrated supposed NFL prospect. May last year passed for over 4,300 yards, 38 touchdowns, ran for 7 more. Rattler threw for just over 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 12 picks, and ran for only 3 scores. Okay. May might go number 2 in the draft. Rattler may go undrafted. Okay. Let's get to skill players. Elijah Green, running back for North Carolina, a stud. Finished last year very, very well. Kobe Paysour, and Nate McMullen, a transfer from Georgia Tech, are going to be the top 2 receivers for Drake May, and they can both go. Now, Antoine Wells is a legit number 1 for South Carolina, but they don't have a lot beyond him. The running back room is really bare, in my opinion, with Juju McDowell and DeCarrion Joyner taking over for Marshawn Lloyd, who went to USC. The Gamecocks' offensive line is under construction. They returned only 4 starters on the defensive side. They were pretty good defensively last year. And I also like that this is on a neutral field and not Williams-Brice Stadium, where South Carolina is very, very tough to beat. I like the Heels. And I like Florida State +2.5 over LSU in Orlando. That's a DraftKings number. Monster game. And I like North Carolina and South Carolina, the difference at quarterback here. Jordan Travis is better than Jaden Daniels, and he's going to prove that to all of you this year. He's a better thrower, all right? Travis last year, over 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns. Daniels didn't even get to 3,000 yards, 2,900 yards, and 17 touchdowns. FSU also has advantages with the skill players. Trey Benson is better than any back that LSU has. And when you talk about Johnny Wilson, he's a 6'7" freak of nature who can go. He is better than any wide receiver that LSU is going to put out there. And obviously Malik Neighbors is very, very good. FSU also brought in Keon Johnson at wide receiver from Michigan State. They brought in Winston Wright from West Virginia. They brought in Jaheim Bell at tight end as well. And they have one of the most loaded offenses in football. I'm not crazy about LSU's offense. Both teams have great defenses, returning most of their starters. They're going to be nasty again. But FSU was slightly better last year on the defensive side of the ball than LSU by 2 points per game. And in a showdown game between 2 elite defenses, I will go with the team that has the more offensive playmakers, and that is Florida State. I'm Rick Kamla. This has been my college football picks for week 1, and I can't wait. And we're coming to you on Prize Picks week after week and ready to have a good time with you guys all season long. Good luck.